Hello guys, welcome to Cloud Tips. Today we are going to learn about what are service principles, apps and service principles, and the managed service principles. Basically, service principles is an identity created for use with application, hosted services, and automated tools to access Azure resources. So basically, in this case, you will not get any login screen, and this is not an interactive login, so you cannot provide their username and password to log into Azure portal. So basically this is think of such a scenario where uh, you would not be able to provide the login screen. So in that scenario you can use the service principal to log into or authenticate to your users. These are the various commands that I'm going to describe uh, for the service principal management, and I'm going to use the both way using the principal creation using the Azure portal as well as through the PowerShell. So basically this easy login command is I guess there is no hyphen behind in between, but you can try. So let's get started and try to create a service principal first, and then we'll see how we can use that. So let's open a PowerShell and simply say is a login, and let's hit enter. So basically it will redirect me to the browser, and it will ask me to select my username on which I wanted to sign in. So basically I wanted to use this admin account to log in. So let me select this account, and it will ask me to provide password. So let's say sign in. So it is saying I'm successfully logged in and I can close this browser. So let's wait a second. It will. All right. So it is saying I am logged in, but with some error came, and it is saying that I have selected a user or account that has no subscription. So basically the account that I selected, I do not have subscription on that. So if you do not have subscription on you, or and you wanted to log in on that account only, then you have to pass this flag. So let's try again and saying allow no subscription, and let's try and hit enter again. So again, if you have a subscription on your account, you do not need to pass that flag. You will automatically be redirected and saying that you are logged in. So let me select one more time and provide my password. All right, so again it is saying I'm logged in. So let's close this browser. There you go. So now it is saying that I'm logged in using this flag. So and this is my username, tenant ID, and all these details are there. All right. So so once you log into Azure PowerShell using your Azure credential, so let's say what we can do. I can say easy ad, and I can say simply say help. Maybe I do not know the command, so I can check with the help. All right. So hyphen h flag will give you the help, and now it is saying I can do various things, like I have the SP. This is for the service principal. So let's go ahead and say again easy ad SP, and let's say what we can do to service principal. So it will give you the commands on which what you can do. All right, so here you can use the commands. So to creating the service principal, we have two commands. One is create and one is create for other. So basically, I'm going to use this create for rback command, and why? Because I wanted to have some, the default role assigned to my service principal, and basically, I wanted to use this service principal for authentication purpose, and that maybe I just wanted to create this as a generic purpose for authentication. That's why I wanted to use this rback option, and we can have a multiple features inside that rback. So let's check what all we can do through this create for rback command. So basically what you can do is azadsp create for back, and you can simply say hatch, so it will give you what all we can have options. All right, so so there is an options, so you can say uh, you can have the if you're going to use this create for rback using this command, so you will have some default role assigned. That's a very good benefit of using this command. You can give your name, your custom name as well. If you do not want to have any assignment, you can simply say skip assignments. Uh, you can attach to the self-signed certificate for this rback command. So there are multiple ways, multiple things you can do. You can also associate your keyword and all. So let's go and say create for rback, and simply say let me give it a name for me. So I can say demo sp, and I can say simply hit enter. So basically it should fail, I guess. So let's check whether it is failing or not. All right, so it is failing. Why? Because I have logged in with the account that has no subscription associated to it, and for the role assignment and all, it needs resource group, I mean some storage account, and for the storage it needs a subscription. So since my account has no subscription, so that's why it is failing. So what I can do is I can simply say please don't assign anything, and just create a service principal for me, and that you can see there is a flag saying skip assignment. So I'm just going and simply copying this flag, and just using that command for saying skip assignment. So let's see what default it can do. There are many things by default these commands can do that we can analyze very soon. So let's say hit enter. Alright, there you go. So your account service principal is now being created, and it is saying app ID. That would be your client ID or application ID. There is a display name. This is the valid URI, and this is your password, and this is the tenant ID. So tenant ID is shared across your applications. So this could be uncommon. So I mean this could be useful if I can store somewhere for my reference. And let's go and check uh, on the Azure portal that this app is being created, and what all we can do through this uh, with this newly created service principal. So let's flip to my account that I have already logged into the portal with the account, and let's go to Azure Active Directory. So we created a service principal. So where do we can find that service principal? So let's check in users. These are my users list. So can I find my demo SP here? No. So basically, service principals uh, is not your users. These users are basically the users that can be logging interactively. but the service principal is not that one. So where we can see that, so basically if we can go to groups and pretend to create a group, let's go and try to create a group. We are not going to create, but still we can pretend to create. And if we try to add some members for this group, this is the list of, this looks like an admin is the user, and uh, what are all these things, these square icon things. So basically these are your service principles that are by default there in your Azure portal. And there you go, the newly created demo service principal is there, and I can have ability to select that, and I can add to any group. So basically I can add groups and service principals, I mean users and service principals to any group, and I can give any security principles or any other purposes we can use. So this is the one place where we can, search our service principal. Let's analyze more. Let's go to app registration. But we created a service principal. Why we are searching on the app registration? So basically, app registration and service principles both are, the tightly coupled. So here you can see the demo service principal is there. So if I open this demo service principal, I can see the display name is demo service principal, and manage application is, your demo service principal, and all those details are there that we see in our partial here. So behind the scene, what happened when we create any service principal, automatically it creates, the app. So is it possible to have an app without service principal, or is it possible to have a service principal without an app? So somehow both are, tightly coupled, but we can say there are a few differences. So let's see what are those differences. So since we are in demo service principal, let's see what permissions we have by default. So if I go to API permission, I can see no permission being added. How is that? There is no permission being added. And what happened if we create a app uh, using a portal? So let's try that out. Let's go to app registration and try to create a new app. Let's give name demo sp portal, and let's not talk about all these things and simply say register. So app is registered. Now you can see your display name is demo sp portal, as well as manage identity in local directory is also, the demo sp portal. So it created the service principal as well. So when you create an app, it will create the service principal. When you create a service principal, it creates the app. So both are tightly coupled, we can see. But if we can go to API permission, what we can see one assignments are there. So by default, whenever we create any app, the default role is assigned, and that is user.read, and that we can skip through if we can create a service principal through uh, Azure PowerShell. So this is the major difference I have observed in apps and service principal. There are many more, like what we can see here. If I can go to Azure Active Directory, here you can see the demo service principal portal that we created. There is no certificate associated to it, but the service principal that we created to the PowerShell, that is a default certificate is associated to it. And This is how we can say that there are differences in apps and service principle, but somehow both are tightly coupled. All right, so now since you understand that how we create a service principal and apps, either through Azure portal or through the CLI, let's see what else we can do. So other things we can do is we can query, or we can delete the things. So let's go ahead and let's say in a PowerShell you wanted to the query your all service principles, all your details of the service principle. So how you can do this? So let's say first I'm saying clear to clear this window, and we'll copy this command from here. And this is saying this is not basically, this is the running PowerShell. So what we can say is I can say AZADSP, I can say list, and I can also say help. So let's see what it will give me. All right, so it is saying there are some arguments we can pass. So what will happen if I say just list? It will list me all the service principal. All right, so these are the service principles we have. So how we can query this? So let's say if I say query, and if I say dot display name, what will happen? Uh, there you go. So now what we did is if you simply use the list, it will give you all the list of the service principal with the complete details. But what if we wanted to query in that list? So we can simply use the parameter saying query, and we can use James query path syntax, JEMES query path syntax to filter out the query, and this is that specific syntax. So I'm interested just to see the display names of the list of queries. So these are the list, and in this list I can see this demo SP, and maybe somewhere I can find demo SP using portal. There, that is. All right, so these are the things we can do. There are many more we can do through the James query. The other thing we have to understand is if you wanted show up the details with the specific app or service principal, then how you can do. And if you wanted to delete, then these are the commands. So let's see this in an action. So basically what we can what we can see is we can simply say sp, if I can say hatch, it will give me the help that what I can do. So there is an option saying the show. So if I say show, and then it will ask me some ID or client ID. So let's see what it is asking. So it is asking me for the ID and the service principal name or object ID. So we can get that service principal ID that we have already copied here. So let me copy it out, and if I can provide hyphen hyphen ID, and if I can give this ID, so this particular app ID should display. Perfect. So these are the details of this particular app ID. So in this way you can query using PowerShell yeah, to the specific app ID. So what if we wanted to to delete, or if we wanted to delete any app? So there are two ways we can delete, either through this portal. I can go to this portal and I can simply say delete from here, or I can use this, the client ID, and I can simply go and use this command, this sp delete. So let's see in the action. I can simply go here and I can say delete. Let's verify the command. It's a id and app id, client id. Perfect. So if I say enter, so it will delete that app. That's cool. So let's go to here, and we wanted, let's go to directory and let's refresh it out. Let's see if that is gone. All right, so we cannot see that app id here. So this is how we can, delete and query and create a service principal. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Please like and subscribe the channel, and definitely you can contact me for your queries. If you wanted, cover any specific topic, if you have any doubt on any section on Azure, you can write and comment to me. Thank you.